Hello everyone. Most products appear in our refrigerators directly from supermarkets and other stores, where today you can find almost any product. Few people grow fruits, vegetables and other crops on their own, but today we'll open the veil of secrecy a little and show you how the products we all know grow before they end up at your dinner table. Let's get it on. Potatoes. The birthplace of potatoes is South America, where wild potatoes can still actually be found. Their introduction as a crop began some 9,000 or 7,000 years ago on the territory of what is now Bolivia. Just imagine how long a time ago it's been. It's said that in the Incan calendar, a unit of time was defined as the time needed to cook a potato. That is, in Peru, they said, the same time has passed as it would have taken to cook a potato. Today, potatoes are spread all over the world, and people have learned to do many different things with this product, from alcohol to pills. However, to create a bag of potato chips, potatoes must go on a fairly long and unusual trip. In fact, unlike many vegetables and fruit, potatoes are not a vegetable, but a tuber. After ripening, it is extracted and separated from the roots and herbaceous part. Some of the tubers are used to replant potatoes, others as cattle feed, but most are sent for further processing to become potato chips, grandmother's potato cake, or hash browns. The fruit and plant parts contain solanine, which can cause poisoning in humans and animals, so they cannot be eaten. Pine nut. Pine nuts are known not only in Siberia and the Far East, but also in other countries. However, the main place for collecting these nuts is the Siberian taiga. Most large cedars grow in the rocky places of eastern Siberia, in the west, as well as in the mountainous regions of southern Siberia. It's not surprising that pine nuts are one of the most expensive products in the world. A lot of effort is needed to reach them. The pine nuts are inside the cones, which in turn mature in the cedar pines. The harvest season for pine nuts usually begins in early September, and in the mountainous areas in the middle of the month. With strong winds, ripe shoots on treetops fall off easily, but sometimes they need a bit of help. People have to shake the tree, hit it with a special hammer, or even climb to remove the shoot manually. By the way, this is not so easy when the tree can reach a height of 40 meters. The harvested cones are placed in a special drum to separate the nuts, and then they're dried, peeled, and sometimes fried. Brussels sprouts. Even if the name of this vegetable doesn't ring a bell, you've probably encountered it at least once. Yes, these are the little cabbages your parents tried to feed you as a child, while you wanted something sweet and almost definitely unhealthy. If you see these little cabbages, it seems they should grow like any other cabbage, but something has gone wrong in nature. The fact is that Brussels sprouts grow on the trunk. At first, the trunk appears, then the leaves, and only then do the fruits, 3 or 4 centimeters in diameter, forming small heads from 20 to 60 pieces in a plant. They are the ones we eat after they're cut from the trunk and, for example, boiled. Did you expect that? Well, strictly speaking, Brussels sprouts have a distant relationship with a cabbage. This mutated species appeared in Belgium, presumably in the 16th century, from where it traveled to other countries in Europe and the world. Pineapple. Do you think the pineapple, like other tropical fruits, grows on a palm tree high above the ground? Well, no. Pineapples have nothing to do with palms or trees. The herbaceous pineapple plant doesn't grow more than 1.5 meters. Yes, you can even say that the pineapple is a herb? It is strange, but it's true. Pineapples grow on the ground almost like a cabbage, but they look more like the tip of a tree which has fallen sharply underground. Long, sharp leaves, and in the middle on the long stem, the pineapple. By the way, the fruit of the pineapple is actually a group of small fruits, each of which is formed from its own flower. Then they grow together and form the fruit to which we are accustomed. Yes, that's why the pineapple has so many cells on the outside that resemble the scales of a dragon or a pine cone. Although the home of the pineapples is Paraguay in southern Brazil, most of these fruits are now grown in Southeast Asia, and some pineapple fanatics manage to plant them even at home. Watermelon. The size of the watermelon indicates that no tree could bear such a huge fruit. In fact, watermelons grow as close to the ground as possible. Since pumpkins are their closest relatives, watermelons are all harvested by hand, although the help of a harvester is also used sometimes. Well, Africa is considered the birthplace of this sweet striped fruit. According to most botanists, watermelons first appeared in the Kalahari Desert. You probably didn't expect such an arid homeland to be the place of origin of watermelons, but you can't argue with scientists. In this area, you can still find this fruit in the wild. However, modern watermelons are very different from those known 4,000 years ago. In those days, they had a bitter taste and a size similar to that of a grapefruit. Around the year 2000 BC, this fruit was first found by the ancient Egyptians, and so began its history. Kiwi. If you ask a person, where does a kiwi grow, you'll probably make this person think for a long time. In fact, most of us have never seen this fruit in its natural habitat, so to speak. Is it a tree or a shrub, something like a potato but green on the inside? Or, well, be prepared to be surprised. The kiwi is a liana that looks like a tree but does require support. The fruits are arranged on the plant in groups, and at harvest time they're all cut at the same time. It's very interesting that during the season the color of the leaves of this plant changes several times. They can be green, whitish, pink and crimson, and all this happens in one summer. Kiwis are eaten only after they've matured and the thin skin has been peeled. Due to the small hairs, the skin of the kiwi is actually quite unpleasant.
Nick. No.
Artichoke. This delicious vegetable known as the artichoke is grown in countries such as France, Spain, and Italy. Practically all the artichokes supplied to the American market are produced in California, and the city of Castroville, California even claims to be the artichoke capital of the world. We have to say that when you look at these strange sprouts, they don't seem to be edible. Even less appetizing are the artichokes as they grow in the bush. Look, it's like trying to eat flowers. The fact is that these plants are related to the thistle, and as soon as the buds begin to grow, they instantly become inedible. Therefore, only unopened buds are suitable for eating. They're cut and consumed in a week, while the aroma is not lost. Depending on the size, the artichoke can be eaten raw, marinated, or cooked. Date. The territories of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco, where evidence of the cultivation of this tree 4,000 years before Christ has been found, are considered the place of origin of the date palm. This tree grows for at least 60 years and bears fruit every year. It's not surprising that in ancient times, dates were considered one of the main foods. The date palm that grows in a warm climate is a tree up to 30 meters tall with beautiful leaves that look a bit like feathers. It can reach 5 meters in length, so the palm is really big. To collect the fruits of this tall tree, workers climb it with a special fastener, cut groups of dates and lower them to the ground, where they're then dried. Up to 80 kilograms of fruit can be collected from each adult date palm. Today, Saudi Arabia is the leader in the production and export of dates. It's closely followed by Iraq and Iran, Egypt, Bahrain and Algeria. The United Arab Emirates, Syria and Tunisia were left behind. Even in the United States, date palms can be found, for example in the state of California. This tree is also found in Mexico and Australia. Almond. Although almonds are often classified as nuts, it is in fact a stone fruit. The size and shape of the almond tree are similar to peach seeds, and they grow on trees that bloom incredibly beautifully. After flowering, small green fruits form on the branches. However, they're not suitable for eating, and the tree seems to know it. They throw their leaves quite early, and the fruit dries quickly and opens up. Only the stone remains, but they don't look like almonds yet. It's necessary to reach them. To collect the stones, the fruits are knocked down from the tree and then removed from the shell with a special machine. Previously, this work was done manually, but now the help of technology is used, and only then the nut is sent for further processing, fried and used in various dishes or cosmetics. Cocoa powder. To produce cocoa powder, you don't need to grind up chocolate bars. This product has a much longer and more difficult production method. The cocoa tree is quite tall. There are specimens up to 15 meters, but on average, the height of the fruit tree is 6 meters, which facilitates harvesting. The trunk is straight, up to 30 centimeters in diameter, and has yellowish wood and brown bark. The tree produces fruit throughout the year, and to collect the ripe fruit, people use knives, machetes, pruners, or any tool that can cope with solid wood. The fruits are cut into several pieces, then the seeds are removed from the pulp by hand to send them to dry in special boxes. The sorted seeds are cleaned, fried, and separated from the parchment layer, then crushed and passed through various filters to obtain a high-quality powder. The roasted crumbs are ground and squeezed into a thick stretching mass called cocoa butter. Well, if you add vanilla, sugar, milk powder, and various additives to this mixture, you get the same chocolate that's supplied for sale. But what about cocoa powder? So let's go back to the stage where the cocoa beans are ground. After squeezing the cocoa butter, a dry cocoa paste remains. After cooling, it's ground into large chunks, and then it's a powder, and that's how it becomes everyone's favorite cocoa. Dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.